Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making a lemon drizzle loaf cake. This is going to be wonderfully lemony and should be quite light and very moist as well, and for that I'm using a 2-pound loaf tin. This is 23 centimetres, just over 9 inches in length, and 13 centimetres, just over 5 inches in width or depth, so width, and then the depth is 7 centimetres, just about 3 inches. And to start off with, I've got my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, that's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. So because as soon as this is mixed, it's going to go straight into the oven. And for the ingredients, I have 175 grams, 13 tablespoons of softened butter. I have 3 medium eggs, that would be large in the USA, and I've beaten those so that the yolks and the whites are mixed together. I have 75 grams of ground almonds, that's 3/4 of a cup. I have 100 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup plus 1 teaspoon of plain flour. I have 175 grams of caster sugar, but you could use granulated sugar, and that's 7/8 of a cup. I have about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I have the zest from 2 lemons, and all of those ingredients are going into the cake. And then for the drizzle to go on the top, I'm using the juice from 2 lemons, 100 grams, which is half a cup of demerara sugar, but again you could use granulated sugar or golden caster sugar if you wanted to, and I have the zest from 1 lemon. So I'm going to put those ingredients to the side for the time being, and then what we need to do is to cream our butter and the sugar. I should say I also have some milk, and that's just going to be added to make the batter the right consistency at the end. So the first thing to do is to cream the butter and the sugar together, and I'm going to do that until it's light and fluffy, and that might take, with my hand mixer, 2 or 3, maybe even 5 minutes, but I'll let you know. So we just want this to be nice and light and fluffy. So that's light and fluffy now, and I actually did that for 3 minutes. And I should say you can do all this by hand if you want to, it just takes that little bit longer. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my 2 lemon zests, and I'm going to add in the egg, but I'm going to do that a little bit at a time, whisking all the while, and I'm again keep whisking until it's all fully combined and is nice and fluffy still. Okay, so that's well combined. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the salt and the flour. Now you could sift this flour in if you wanted to, but I'm just going to sprinkle it over with my fingers, and then I'm going to fold it in using a metal spoon, which is not something I usually do, but apparently it's a good idea when trying to keep these things light. So we want to try to fold this in using a figure-of-8 movement without knocking out the air that we've built into the egg and butter mixture. And then with that mixed in, I'm just going to scrape that spoon. I'm going to do the same with the ground almonds. And any little clumps of ground almond should actually break down as you mix it in. And now I'm going to switch to my spatula and just gently fold it over. I'm just looking to make sure that everything is incorporated, and as you can see, that doesn't drop very well or easily at all. So what I'm going to do is add a little drop of milk, maybe 2 teaspoons to start with, and I'm going to mix that in. And that's almost there. I'm just going to add 1 more little drop of milk, half a teaspoon. And you can see that will then drop off and some stays on the spatula. So that's good enough. So what we need to do is to put that into the cake tin. Now I've lined my loaf tin, but you could just butter and flour it, but I've lined mine. And I'm going to pour the mixture in and then gently level it off. Pushing it into the corners. And with that fairly level, I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for 50 to 55 minutes until I can poke a skewer into the centre, lift it out and see that it's clean. And maybe a couple of crumbs would be okay, but it should be generally clean. And then as soon as it does that, I'm going to take it out of the oven and I'll come back and show you what we do next. So I baked our cake for 50 minutes and I tested it with a skewer and it came out clean. And so it's still hot straight from the oven. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little bits of lemon zest, and I'm just going to drop that on the top and spread it around a little bit. Doesn't have to be exact, of course. And then I'm going to take a skewer and I'm going to poke holes all over the cake. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sugar, the demerara sugar and the lemon juice into a bowl, and I'm going to stir those around like that, and then I'm going to drizzle both of them on top of the cake, and I'm going to leave time for the juice to seep in. Now you could make a syrup if you wanted to, using this sugar and lemon juice, but I don't need a syrup. This will work just fine. And I think that's going to be enough for my purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for it to cool down completely in the tin, and once it's cooled down I'll come back and we'll cut it and we'll have a taste of it. The cake has almost cooled down. I couldn't wait any longer because I wanted to taste it. And I think maybe I put my juice in a little bit too quickly. You should really let it seep through for longer before putting more on, I think. So that it's more moist at the top than at the bottom, but it's still going to taste very, very good. So I've cut it, and this is what it looks like. And the sugar on top is gone slightly hard and crystallized, so I'll have a little taste. It is so light and lovely and lemony. That is really very, very good indeed. And it's quite easy to make, as you can see. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you click on the notification bell once you've subscribed, then you can be notified each time I put a new video on. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to this recipe, and I'll put a link to it below the video as well. Then I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.